All right, so here we go. So yes, we're once again talking about Marathon, the most divisive game on planet Earth. But first, a message from Burnt Peanut.
Look, I'm hating on the new game as soon as it releases. I'm part of the cool crowd. Dude, shut up! That happens with every game!
I'm fucking running right now.
Literally, the game you're telling me to go play Arc Raiders, you literally did it to as well!
He's not wrong, though. I remember Arc Raiders when it first released. Yeah, it got a bunch of hate and it had divisive opinions. I think still to this day, sometimes Arc Raiders get some divisive opinions about whether or not it should have a PvE only mode or what have you. But here we are with Marathon kind of facing the same issue because today is kind of strange. You know, it started out yesterday where people were still formulating their opinions. There was definitely a lot of hate online for this game and also critical feedback, legit critical feedback that this game does need to adjust. Don't get me wrong. But today it's interesting. Marathon is finding its group despite what's happening with the server slam numbers, which we're going to talk about the concurrent numbers here in just a moment. It is definitely a divisive game. There is no doubt. You have part of an audience that is really embracing this game for its aesthetic, its unique look, the fact that they think it's kind of fun. And then there's others that just say that this game is absolute dog trash. They're going back to Arc Raiders. And if we actually take a moment here and we head on over to the actual Steam numbers, what we could see here, or the Steam chart, for just a server slam, by the way, of course, is that we did start with 143,000 peak players on day one. Now we're up to about roughly nearing 75,000 players concurrently right now. Let me refresh that. Yeah, we might hit that amount, but you know, the fact is the player count has halved. Now you could say, hey, Robbie, well, that's just simply because of the fact that everyone's working. Well, if you head on over to Resident Evil Requiem, you could see that this game had a concurrent player count at launch, 320,000 players. You could see how it has kind of like steadied out. By comparison, it's interesting. Marathon has seen quite a big dip here. So I'm kind of curious to see what happens if, you know, this can actually find its own audience. But I was expecting, you know, and I think Bungie was hoping more of a gradual decrease that, you know, day one, you see 143,000 players. Day two, you would potentially see, you know, 120,000, 100,000, not a dip clear down to 75,000. I'm extremely curious to see what happens this weekend. But yeah, you know, beyond that, beyond the drama, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. You know, the Marathon dev team came out and they had some things to say. We're going to go over exactly what they're saying right here. We're also going to be talking about some new opinions formulating that Marathon is fucking awesome, according to some of the players. And, you know, how people are feeling about the hate for this game, the hate within the Marathon community. People are like, if you're not enjoying it, just go somewhere else. That's how some people feel. But then, you know, there's people sticking around hoping things change. They're giving their input legit, you know what I mean? Oh, also, by the way, remember, I'm doing my $70 game giveaway. So be sure to check out that link in the top pin comment. But yeah, a lot of stuff to talk about, but I think we need to start from the very, very beginning. I got to say one thing about this game. Watching the gameplay right now is the cloak ability has saved me so many countless times. Let me tell you what. But let's get into the official stuff from the dev team. So they said they've heard player feedback that their early runs on Tau Shetty, I believe it is, feel too empty of other players. They've issued a change to ensure that Perimeter Beginner fills in more crews than it did previously. This change is now live. Let us know if you feel like you're getting into more fights than usual. I myself have been playing it today, and I did get into the game after that change was implemented, and I can say that is definitely the case. I could feel the pressure a little bit more for sure. I ran into already 3 other players by comparison to launch, where I was barely running into anyone. And I'm playing primarily solos, by the way. I'm trying to see if this game has some sort of like PvE type gameplay at all or not. But let's get into more comments from the dev team about what they could potentially change up here. Now, they say that they're going to continue through the test, and this is a heads up on what they are seeing. Mouse input causing lag. They've got reports of that. Voice not working in Run. They are aware of that. They're going to hopefully address that as well. Name changing to redacted. This issue has been resolved, by the way. Now, textures not loading and performance issues is something that has been reported on, and I did mention that previously. This said hardware configurations can span far and wide, so thank you all for letting us know about what you're running into. Thanks to you, we've got a lot of information which will help us ensure Marathon runs smoothly as possible. UI feedback is a big one. That was one thing I covered in the early reviews, early impressions video I did. Check it out on the channel. But you guys, a lot of you guys do not like how the UI is arranged. So it says, we've heard your thoughts on this and want to hear more. We have a feedback thread on our official Discord waiting to hear what's on your mind. PvP frequency. We've seen reports that PvP isn't frequent enough overall. If you're looking for more PvP, we have some recommendations. So they say, perimeter beginner feels fewer runners, head to perimeter, and then dire marsh for a greater challenge. Okay, so it's just of course, beginner tips, I guess you would say. But yeah, they say keep the PvP feedback rolling in here. My question for you guys, when it comes to PvP, do you feel like you can get knocked out way too fast? That's the big question. Because yeah, I've been knocked down several times, of course. And I've also killed some other players, but the kill time is extremely fast from what I have seen, especially compared to other games like Arc Raiders. But maybe that's the intent, to feel kind of more lethal, more different than Arc Raiders. Yeah, but give your opinion if you think that survivability should be adjusted down the road for this one. I am definitely curious your take on that. Now, let's get into the differences of opinions. Now, yeah, in my previous video I kind of recapped a thread that was very critical of the game overall. They said they enjoyed the art style, but they were critical of the UI. There's been some feedback about the gunplay not feeling well, but today it's very interesting to see. So we have this thread here. I was never a fan of extraction shooters, but holy moly, Silver Slam has been a total blast. I'm addicted to this game. And then we have just came up for hour after 10 straight hours. Have tomorrow off too and can't wait to get up and play more. I haven't felt this way about a game in years. They have something here with serious potential once they remedy the common pain point. So some people are feeling like they have a really good foundation to at least jump off of here. This is not a full-blown $70 game. It is a $40 game. Some people are like, I wouldn't even spend $40 on this game, that there needs to be way more. And to each their own, of course. But we have this. This is probably the most miserable open beta I've ever played and has nothing to do with the game. So this is an interesting take. Let me know if you agree. So it says, been having a lot of fun so far, and there are definitely some criticisms, but this open beta is probably one of the most miserable ones I've ever taken part in, and it isn't even the game. I look online and everything is copy-paste criticism slop from people that played one match. Dead on arrival, Roblox, bad graphics, okay? Too complicated. I wouldn't go to the extreme and say it's Roblox graphics. Then we have, it actually gives me a migraine seeing some of this discourse online. None of the discussions are even about the content or anything constructive. Now, hold up. I have some things to say about that one in just a moment, because I have seen some legit constructive criticism. Just moaning and moaning everywhere you look. Feel like in order to experience the game, you need to unplug yourself from the internet, because it's impossible to see any unbiased discussion about it without someone screaming in your ear saying it's bad. Now, I'm going to say this. If we're not even talking about Marathon and gaming in general, I absolutely love that take. I really do. That's how I am. I kind of like when a game releases, I kind of really immerse myself into, especially some of these single player driven games, and just truly enjoy it. And I don't want any noise in my ear. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I hear what he is saying right there. Now it says, do I think there are criticisms? Yeah, but Jesus Christ, give the game some breathing room before declaring it that it's bad. It's like half the people playing are primed to hate it no matter what. And there isn't an inch of charitability, okay, they're willing to give the game because Bungie is tied to it. Are we running a charity here? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, there are criticisms, there's feedback. I was playing with some randoms who were avid Arc Raiders fans, and they were telling me how much fun they were having. They talked about how PvP was more fun because of no 3 peeking, the visuals were cooler, and the weapon balance seemed fair so far. Then I checked discussion online, and you would have thought Hitler reincarnated and just have given a speech at the Game Awards. Damn. People need to chill a bit. I'm kind of curious about the reactions here. Same here. I'm at work right now and dying to play, so I have a stream pulled up on second monitor, and the chat is so annoying to look at. Wow, yeah. So it seems like it's interesting. There's definitely a group forming around Marathon right now. Slowly but surely, it has a little bit of momentum despite the strange thing here that has happened where, we've seen the number just kind of like really half. So it's strange. There's momentum in the cult following, I should say. Overall, you could see here that I think what has happened here with the numbers is that many people jump shipped. They're like, I'm going back to Arc Raiders. Or, if they're really into even, I don't know, Tarkov, they're like, I'm going back to what I'm more comfortable with. That could be the case. Now, we have some other updated, more detailed first impressions. I gave you guys the knee-jerk reaction kind of yesterday to this. But check this out right here. First impressions after playing 6+ hours. So this is a little bit more detailed. This isn't like after playing the first hour, 2 hours, or what have you. So it says, some background. I played all the Halo games, so that's awesome. Destiny 2 up to Witch Queen, 200 hours on Arc Raiders, and top 1% in Valorant, Overwatch, Rainbow Six. So this isn't to suggest that my FPS experience makes my opinion more valid than others, but rather to clarify the kind of audience I represent. Okay, so that's good to know. The game is graphically gorgeous even when all settings are set to low. The UI isn't too bad. I got used to it after several hours. Now, if I could pause there's so many different opinions about the UI. I'm seeing people are really still, to this day, absolutely pissed with the UI right now. And then we have like a take about the UI from, I think it's Smodgy, I believe. And I just wanted to play this clip here because let me know if you agree with him about this or not. Check it out.
Everybody's freaking out about the menus being complicated. You click loadout. Here's your loadout. You click vault. There's your vault and your stuff you could put in your loadout. Armory is where you can go to buy stuff, right? Shell select. Wow, what do you think that does? Customize. What do you think that does? We're done.
Yeah, so you can get what he's saying here, that the UI, in his opinion, is pretty self-explanatory. But yeah, one thing I'm noticing particularly about the UI that people are complaining about is the UI icons are so bad. Why do I have to hover over every item to see what it is and find out that this exact same looking shield is 50% stronger? So I think it's how the UI is communicated per item, especially when two items look like freaking absolutely identical. That right there is an absolute problem. Now, other people have also an issue with the actual kind of like look of the UI, the colors that they're using with the game. Give people like a literal migraine. It's too much. It's too colorful, in other words. And my big question is, do you guys like the color, I guess, scape of the game, for lack of a better term? Or do you think it needs to be toned down? I think they're definitely going for something that's in your face, very colorful. If you see it, you know it's Marathon. And yeah, there's no doubt when you see this game, it is absolutely Marathon. Now, back to, of course, the initial thoughts here, that review after 6 hours. So check it out. Let's get back on this. So killing NPCs is very satisfying. I kind of skipped over this one here. Enemies 100% give off Halo vibes. Feels like I'm fighting elites on heroic difficulty. I felt like I actually had to take every NPC fight smart if I wanted to avoid using too much hills. Yeah, that definitely happened to me when facing off against some of these, NPCs, these AI. And sometimes you can't, the one thing I noticed that's kind of like a big problem is you can't tell the difference between an AI and a player-controlled character. And I think that's throwing people off big time as well. Now, next up, we have abilities are fun and useful. Nothing feels overpowered yet. Favorite runner is probably Blackbird. I have yet to try all the runners. I'm really sticking to the covert guy because I like to get out of dodge if I need to. Movement feels smooth, but in my opinion, the slide feels pretty useless, consumes too much stamina and not enough distance if you're not running glitch. Might be a balanced choice decision, but I wish I could slide and jump like in Halo and Destiny, LOL. Yeah, it feels a little bit clunky. One thing I will say about the game is it feels a little bit clunky when moving out of slides. It feels like you're kind of, I don't know how to describe it. You're kind of on rails, I guess you would say. And then I want to like turn. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Now it says can't say too much about the items and stuff because I have no idea what's good or bad. Just stocking up on high rarity items and weapons. Everyone's learning the game still. Favorite weapon is definitely the heavy ammo pistol. Easily takes out most NPCs in 2 headshots. Quests feel more fun rather than cumbersome. Voice chat feels dead. Literally use my voice chat all the time. Not one of my teammates have ever talked back. LOL, might just be unlucky though. It could be that, they've been having some issues with voice chat not working, proximity chat working. And I myself have not heard one peep from anyone, which is very, very different from Arc Raiders. So yeah, if the voice proximity chat isn't working for this game at launch, I think that will be a really, really big issue, especially for those of you coming from Arc Raiders and enjoy that sort of thing. So hopefully they can get that working, of course. And they say this PvP is very fun, feels like a more punishing Halo. Wish there were more players per map, maybe 2 more squads spawning in would be nice. They're addressing this or looking at feedback about that as well. And kill down players feels too fast, especially the finisher animation. Yeah, kill time is another thing, just beyond finishers and stuff like that. I'm kind of wondering if they're going to adjust the kill time or not. It is extremely fast compared to games even like Arc Raiders. But, there's other issues beyond this. And this is where we get into the feedback that is legit and critical. No problems with the enemy difficulty, but they should drop ammo on death. Pretty much the only reason AI kills me is I'm always out of ammo. Ammo seems to be in weapon lockers and enemy AI doesn't even drop it. Feels like I'd be enjoying the game a lot more if ammo wasn't so rare. Yeah, the amount of times I have, run out of ammo completely for both weapons has been a pain in the ass. And, a lot of you guys agree. Big time, yes. And, you're getting into fights quite a bit with the enemy AI, which I enjoy. Like, that's the thing I enjoy. I want to get into encounters. I want to get into it, and sometimes I do want to stealth. But, when you limit ammo severely, you risk the game turning into like just a pure stealth game where you absolutely have to pick the character that can cloak and you have to work around the area and not get into any engagements whatsoever. But sometimes the enemies push the issue as well. And it's funny, it's becoming like a meme. Where's the ammo? Where is it? We need more of it. So hopefully they can also adjust that one down the road in the future. But you know what? We have this take here. It's okay to be confused after you start playing. I cannot understand how unwilling people are to learn something new and different. If your opinion is based on a few matches, then it's pretty invalid. First impressions are fine, but people are giving up on a game that's 3 hours old. The game isn't very intuitive and it's definitely confusing at first, but to me, the depth of the game is exciting. I like that there's a lot to learn and figure out. I just wish people weren't so quick to judge things and didn't have to share such aggressively negative opinions without giving it a fair shot. And it's not just this game. This is just the latest example. And I think there's like layers to this, why people are moving off of Marathon perhaps so quickly, because they found their community in other games, easily Arc Raiders being one of them. And it's tough to leave that and be like, oh, I'm going all in on Marathon, despite the fact that all my friends have invested their time and effort and, money even into Arc Raiders. And that's another whole thing. I know this game is $40, but there's a lot of competition going on even now. You have Resident Evil coming out. You have Crimson Desert. There are a lot of games asking for your dollar. And the economics are saying like, you can't buy absolutely every single game out there. I think people are going to be happy with just like Arc Raiders for now. And then dabble in like Resident Evil, the single player games, and then go for there. And then you will find your audience where they're not exactly into Arc Raiders, perhaps they are, and they actually do embrace this game. But yeah, I think you guys know what time it is. It is time to go over your top comes from my most recent Marathon video. Check it out if you missed it. There's some interesting opinions here from the community for sure. And then you guys also had some interesting things to say. So let's get into it. All right. So it says, this game is literally if Destiny and Apex had a kid while being alcoholics. Well, damn. Didn't see that one. Okay. Then we got Master Chief Collection is 75% off till March 5th. Good time to get into, of course, some Halo. So are people still playing multiplayer in that one? Kind of curious. Is anyone actually playing that right now? Then we have I hate the UI in newer games. They make everything blend in to where it's confusing to know what's important and what's not. Yeah, 186 upvotes. It goes to show that, yeah, still a lot of you guys are having issues with the UI for Marathon for sure. Arc Raiders being top 5 in sales after being released 4 months ago is wild. It is crazy. The staying power of Arc Raiders is unbelievable. And we have everyone already owns Arc Raiders. Comparing sales for the last week between the two is hilarious. I agree. Yeah, it doesn't make much sense to compare the two whatsoever, considering that, you know, most people, all the big sales numbers are already passed for Arc Raiders. You know, it's not going to be pushing absolutely monstrous sales numbers right now, simply because it's already downloaded on most people's hardware. And finally, we have on PS5, and yeah, it sucks that you pick up stuff with Square, and then you also pick up stuff with X, and then you drop items with Square, but then you also drop things with X. So it's very confusing in the heat of battle with one you need to hit. Yeah, and it's like, why the hell? Who just decided to design it like that? That's just pretty crazy right there. But anyway, there it is, guys. More Marathon news and updates. It looks like Bungie is paying attention to feedback. They're already making adjustments with adding more like intense PvP battles, at least trying to. So I think that could potentially mean good news for Marathon for those that are interested in, you know, staying with this game in the long term. We'll see what happens with those player numbers, though. You know, seeing this right here, this is the concerning thing. Did we get over 75,000? Hey, it's actually growing tonight. Sweet. That sounds so wrong. Anyway, there it is. The latest happenings around Marathon. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned here for more, and I will see you all next time. Take care.